Welcome back to the Heads Up Show. I'm Steve, and today we have a RIddell SpeedFlex adult helmet in like 80 different pieces. And what I'm going to do is explain which piece goes where, how to actually install it on a shell in case you ever have to or want to take one of these things apart, all the way to the finished product of putting on the chin strap, the face mask with a visor and everything. So this will be a little bit lengthy. I'm going to break it up into chapters. So if you just need to know how to put in a valve cap, go to it. If you need to know how to put on a face mask, skip, go to it. Let's start with describing these pads on our lovely model here. This is pretty correct. This is how the inside of the helmet should look. You have the face frame pads. So here is the crown. Here is the back and side. And they sit in this SpeedFlex liner. They do come out, and you may want to do this if, say, you have a bladder that breaks, or this is just funky, nasty, and you want to clean this. Some people want to say, well, man, I just want my SpeedFlex to be black instead of white. Well, this is why it's not so easy to do that. You have to buy this entire thing, right? So yeah, you can switch the bumpers. The front bumper is right here attached to this, but by the time you do all that, it'll cost you about 200, maybe 250 bucks to replace all of the padding. So it's not a quick fix. Now you can turn this upside down and try to sneak this all in. You'll see these have the bladder attachments. This is where the air pump and your needle would go in, and you have to make sure that they are poking out of these holes. Now the SpeedFlex, in my opinion, has one of the best systems to keep the pads in place, these bladder valve caps, and you'll see how they go on. Very simple. All right, so let's slide this in. And then it's just a matter of lining up these bladder valves. So there's one, there's another one. Let's get this back one in place. Now, as you go, you might want to take these bladder valve caps and put them in place so they don't keep falling out as you're working. So just give it a couple of turns. Now, I like to line up these little slits a little bit better just because aesthetically just looks nicer. You don't have to. Now again, I'm onto this second pad. Let's take your flathead, carefully screw that in place, and you'll feel it get tight. You don't need to crank it down. Now these do and will come off on the field. It never fails. So make sure you have some of these tucked in your gym bag, or if you don't have an equipment guy on your team, someone somewhere always has these parts. Of course, I'll say we sell all this stuff on our website, but I'm just concerned about showing you guys how all this works. All right, so now when you look on the inside, it's already quickly coming together. I move on to this one next. So this one has in here 2 small T-nuts, and what you want to do is take this padding out, lay it over, and line up your T-nuts to those holes right there. So I'm trying to do it to where you guys can see, but then you take 2 screws, and now you want to jam this down in here, and then you'll see it starts coming together. This little flap, just tuck under that liner, and there you go. So now front bumper, all the sides and the uppers are in and the rear. Now it's time to do these guys, which I have taped onto my model here. These also have the little bladder valves. So if you look in here, you'll see a piece of Velcro. The other half of it is here. You press that in there. Valve comes through. Grab your valve cap. Screw that in place. And then repeat it for the other side. So you'll see in here. And by the way, this should also then cover these grommets. So again, take that, push it through, take your fifth and final valve cap, screw that in place. Now that these pads are in here, they'll help keeping these in place. These go in here, and you need these to engage the quick release hardware that will go in there when you're ready to put the face mask on. Let's get this guy out of here. Do your other side. So these just sit right in here. All right. All right, so on to the strap locks. So these have a little notch that sits right in there. So you take this, and you'll notice in here, there is no T-nut yet. Well, here it is. So from the inside, hold that in place. Take your screw, put that in, give it a tighten. And eventually your chin strap will go in there. Now, contrary to common belief, these are reversible. So some people like having them face this way. Some people do the other way. The truth is they have an indent to allow the chin strap to sit in there equally. So you do it however you want. You'll notice when you really pay attention to NFL college teams in particular, they're kind of all over the place. Give that a tighten, and then you're good. Your chin strap upper straps will go in place, which we will do after we do the cam locks. All right, so the cam locks, you want the mechanism facing the cup. So these go in with the thumb screw and the mechanism. For now, I'm just giving this a quick tightening. Not your fault. Then that slides through. All right, and then these uppers, if you left this loose enough, you can slide it right in. I did not, so we're just gonna back this out a touch, creep this in, tighten it back down, and now face mask hardware. This is where you'll need your quick release pins, your face mask hardware. There are two different sizes, okay? Large goes on the top, small goes on the bottom. And of course they face into the mask. And take your pin. I'm going to use the quick release tool because this is what it's designed for. Engage your pin and then press. Do your lower one. once you hear that click, you know you're good. So now we just have to get this visor in. This is just one of our generic visors. You guys have probably seen ones like this all over the place. They look cool, but these, like a lot of other visors, you can do and probably should do after the face mask is in place. Just go slow and realize you're working with a curved, thin piece of plastic. So what I like to do is make sure you're all centered here and here. I'm using the unbranded Under Armour visor clips. Turn this upside down. Get your thumb screw in place. Onto the other side. Again, these can get mounted this way or this way, depending on your face mask style. This is an SF2BD-SW, very common, very popular mask. And the visor fits perfectly. And then, if all is right, you now have a completed SpeedFlex helmet. I didn't really count, but I kind of counted. I think there are 38 parts to this all in. So however long you just sat here and watched me do it was pretty much real time. If you have any other questions that maybe I didn't answer, leave them in the comments below. I'm going to take apart and reassemble a Schutt F7 VTD. That one's even more complicated with the tectonic plates, but I hope that this helps. If you have any other questions, leave them in the comments. Until next time, cheers.